So I can start off. I guess it comes with the caveat that I haven't had too much time to do any development this month, especially when it comes to kind of LinkedIn Learn and the L&D platform that we have. But I did start 2 new books, and I guess there are 2 main things that I'll touch on today, which is the Redefining HR book by Lars Schmidt and Think Again by Adam Grant. I think I picked up the Lars Schmidt book because I saw Darren Murph was quoted in it. He shared it in Slack somewhere, and always interested to hear what he's got to say. And the Think Again book was shared in the podcast. So only about 30% of the way through Redefining HR and 20% of Think Again. I decided to start them both at the same time because the Redefining HR book was fairly heavy going, and it kept sending me off to sleep after a couple of pages. So I thought I'd go for something a little bit lighter as well, but as I do most of the reading before I go to bed. So Redefining HR has been fairly high level, I think, because it's primarily aimed at chief human resource officer type level people in the world. So there's been no real moments where I think, oh, that's a super tactical thing that we could utilize here at GitLab, or any of those kind of aha moments. But the way that the author kind of frame the importance of defining policy and practice through a lens of decentralization and empowering people, rather than adopting practices that are forced on people through a kind of a command and control style approach, really resonated. I think the way that our team's set up at the moment, where, in my opinion, we're maybe a little bit under-resourced, and we don't have a huge amount of time to do this typical recruiting task that you would need to do, whether that's reviewing resumes, or as a recruiter, I've barely got any time to source at the moment. Much of the work that I've been doing is around empowering hiring managers to do those tasks. So the way that he talked about adopting those more kind of decentralized practices and empowering individuals really did resonate. And I'm super early on into Think Again, and all it is talking about is kind of reframing the way that you think about challenges, and ensuring that there's a balance of humility and confidence when it comes to the way that you approach different tasks. And I think I'm a bit too early on to say any big takeaways from it. And I hope to get to a bit further into those books and finish off the diversity, inclusion, and belonging training in LinkedIn Learn by next month. That's my takeaways.
Thank you. Have you listened to any practical tips on that, or not yet, or that's still like later in the course, do you think?
Yeah. There's not been anything super practical just yet in either of those 2 books. I hope that I will get some a bit further on. I know in the Redefining HR book there's a talent and recruiting section in 2 chapters time.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I'm curious to know, how is the course designed? Is it more like theoretical? Does it has any quiz, or is it interactive? So
is that the diversity, inclusion, and belonging course in LinkedIn?
Yeah.
It's fairly. There's lots of quizzes, probably 2-3 minutes of videos or reading, with lots of further reading if you wanted to spend longer, with a 5 or 6 question quiz at the end of each of those 2 or 3 minute videos.
Okay, that's nice.
I hope to have some more to report on that next month. Over to you, Joanna.
Okay, so recently I listened to Building Self-Confidence. I believe that's by Todd Dewitt. I'll add that in the agenda. And it was a fairly short course, and it pretty much focused on how we can, and sorry, I'll be reading off my notes from the phone because I was listening to this while I was on my walk. So that's a cool thing, to download the app LinkedIn Learning and then listen to those while you're on a walk or something. So it's pretty much about dealing with the situations in which you feel like your self-confidence is suffering, and some tips how to deal with those. Pretty much the key takeaways would be that in the situations when you feel like you're struggling with self-confidence, you have to remember that you're valuable and you're in the place where you are for a reason. So try to think about recent wins or any kind of like promotions or, you know, feedback that you've received from your team members or anybody that you work with. Just to remember that, you know, it might be a particular situation that you feel down about, but it doesn't make you as a person not valuable. And another thing is to accept the fact that it's okay to make mistakes and to experience like those little failures. Just allow it to be a learning moment pretty much and make amends. Also, ask yourself how important that skill is, like with regards to the bigger picture. So if that skill is important for your career in the next few years, if so, then great, work on that. If not, then maybe another team member seems like a better person to deal with those kind of tasks, and you don't have to necessarily maybe, you know, dig into that. So that's something to consider. Also, to improve the situation, if you decide to work on that, give yourself a deadline, meaning hours or days and not months or weeks, because usually we kind of tend to put it off and maybe procrastinate if that task is kind of too overwhelming for us. So making a plan, because, you know, structuring your plan into goals and steps that you can take pretty much is a good step to start with. So consider like small wins, small steps that will put you back on track or like will make you start working on that pretty much. And then after those small wins, after those like small steps that you take, it's time to get ready for SMART goals. And in the course, they recommended to look it up. I haven't yet, so I'll look SMART goals up. And then after that, it's you might be ready for like bigger goals. So another thing that they recommended is to think about how people make you feel. Making a list of people who maybe make you feel more positive instead of like bringing you down. And it doesn't mean, you know, obviously we have to avoid interacting with some of the team members that you maybe, you know, they cannot stand, I don't know, but it's pretty much, but pretty much making a list of people and being kind of more mindful about how people make you feel and like the way, you know, like their energy works with your energy. So try to increase meetings with the people that make you feel better and see if there is a way you can maybe just decrease the time that you spend on speaking to people that don't make you feel that positive. And then another tip is to start with tasks that are more meaningful and seem harder, because usually we wake up with, you know, with like more energy to start the day, and we can devote that to something that's more meaningful and harder, and then leave just like smaller task and like, you know, easier task for the later in the day. Another one is to visualize your achievements. So start doing that every day, just, you know, like a minute or two, kind of visualizing the task that you struggle with, visualize how you accomplished it and you finished that, and kind of, you know, start doing it every day so that you can see yourself, you know, feeling great after you accomplish that task. And then when you feel down and not confident, recognize what you feel and like and like what you think. Realize it's temporary and will pass, and remember about, you know, like your achievements in the play that it's pretty much temporary and it doesn't define you as a person, I guess. And highlight the wins and the promotions again to remember about your wins, and connect with someone who lifts your spirits. I think that's a pretty cool tip, you know, I don't know, call somebody and have a little chat to kind of de-stress. And remember to celebrate, so small steps, you know, like maybe some like self congratulations or just a coffee drink from your favorite cafe. And yeah, and last but not least, think of way or like small thing you can start doing now that will boost your self-confidence, like joining a meeting at work, maybe taking a course. So that's something, you know, that we can take advantage of, or maybe leaving one if you don't feel like it's productive and it doesn't, you know, teach you anything and doesn't make you grow. Also talk to a mentor. It doesn't have to be professional, but talk to somebody and tell them how you think. You know, saying those things out loud can kind of free us of the burden, and maybe then we can listen to what advice they have for us. And one last thing, and this is something I really like, is thinking about little behavior or change of a routine that will help you grow. So think about maybe the tools that are not working for you or are outdated, maybe something, maybe you feel like, you know, you're not confident because you don't have the tools, or your routine is old and it doesn't work for you very well. So maybe think about changing that a little bit. Think about like changing of your work routine, maybe things that you can start doing differently, or changing the order of those things. So those are my key takeaways. And what I found, you know, how I will implement it, I guess, I think I could start, you know, writing things down, making a plan and actually like putting it into words, which could kind of create this plan, because sometimes we have a lot of stuff in our head and it's hard to, you know, put it into words and kind of make this actual plan with the steps that you can take, right? So I guess that would be a way to do it. And I believe the course could have a little bit more practical steps or like tips on how to, because those are, you know, great, but maybe more tips on like how, like what tools to use to improve your self-confidence instead of, oh, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. So this is something I need to dwell on, but yeah, I feel like more practical tips on like tools that could actually help. But overall, I think the course was pretty nice. It was short, but yeah, I feel like, you know, putting it into words and writing it down and making a plan could actually work on that. So any questions? Sorry, it was pretty long.
I
Sounds
think
like you
it's
got a
a
lot.
great, yeah, and I think it's a great learning. And yeah, when you were talking about it, I could just recall all my personal challenges that I had. And those were actually before joining GitLab, you know, in an organization where you have your team members working closely with you. And there are times when, you know, even if you are not agreeing to a particular thing with your team member, all your facial expressions, or if you're not agreeing with them, or if you have a small tiff with them or argument, that is visible. So the best part of working remotely is, you know, even if something happens, your facial expressions or things or the anger or anything that you have, it won't come on someone's face, and you can probably, you know, build your self-confidence back. That is something that I really like when you're working remotely. And I think the issues that we have in GitLab, so whenever I've started working on a project in my last organizations, few of them, I've never completed them because I didn't know about the deadline, the steps and everything. So I think making a plan, action items does help, and that does build your self-confidence. I haven't had any chance to look at any tools or something, but I remember the last time when I was going through one of the, I'm not sure if it was a self-confidence or learning and development course in LinkedIn. They did have an Excel sheet of action plan that you can list down, and action plans, and, you know, you can give your due dates or a summary or something like that. I'll just check if I still have it somewhere from last year or last year. But yeah, that does help. So yeah, I could just recall my personal things. And since the time I have joined GitLab, I've started using issues, and, you know, started speaking to my managers about how I've never completed a task. And that's something I think probably others are better than me in doing it. So yeah, so that was something that I was lacking. But, you know, since the sourcing team and recruiting team collaborates so much with projects, and, you know, we have wonderful leaders, so I think we are you know, just climbing the ladder towards the success. It takes time, but yes, there has to be some pointers, action items that you need to do at shorter instincts, and celebrate the wins. And I always, you know, celebrate my wins with crackle chocolate. That's my favorite chocolate that I have. I think I still have it. Yeah, I still have it today, but there is no success or win. But I still have this one today. So rather than coffee, I go for a chocolate. So that's a great learning. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for your insights. What do you think? What do you think, Rupert?
I was just going to say, it sounds like you took a lot away from it. It sounds like a really valuable course. I'm glad that it was a good use of your time, because it sounds like it was.
Yeah, thank you. I really think it can be helpful, but I guess, for example, for me, the biggest trouble is that I sometimes just don't have enough time to kind of, put more thought into the things that I've learned. So I guess, just writing it down can be actually helpful to deal with those situations. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out more on the courses, and then not sure which one will be next, but I believe something related to either GDPR, which I think I need a reminder about the whole processes and stuff, or something related to our courses sorry. Again, I have too many thoughts to put it into words, but either Git 101, I guess this one is something that I have tried to complete for a long time and couldn't find enough time. So maybe that one. But yeah, that's me.
Well, it's a great start, and keep doing it.
Absolutely. Did you have one, Kambal, or should we end the call?
I haven't had a chance to go through any of the courses, but next time I will for sure.
Next time. Cool. Well, I'll either see you both in the EMEA and America time zone one, or in 2 months at the EMEA and APAC one.
Great. Thank you, Bert.
Okay, take
Have
care.
a good day.